My fiancé chose excitement over commitment. I chose revenge in silence. Canceled the marriage, sold our dream home, disappeared forever, and karma spoke louder than I ever could. Hey Reddit. Baby, I need to tell you something. I kissed someone at Megan's bachelorette party. The wine glass in my hand stopped halfway to my lips. My fiancée stood in our kitchen doorway, backlit by the hallway light, her expression somewhere between guilt and defiance. The words hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. You what? It was just a kiss. It didn't mean anything. Her voice carried that particular tone, the one people use when they're trying to convince themselves as much as you. I set the glass down carefully on the granite countertop we'd picked out together 6 months ago. The same countertop where we'd shared breakfast that morning, where she'd kissed my cheek and told me she loved me before heading to work. How does someone accidentally kiss someone? I kept my voice level, watching her face. She shifted her weight, arms crossing over her chest. The male stripper. Things got out of hand. I'm 35. She's 32. We'd been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. The wedding was scheduled for October, 6 weeks away. The invitations had been mailed. The venue was booked. Her dress was hanging in our spare bedroom closet. Out of hand how? Does it matter? I'm being honest with you. I could have just never told you. That sentence right there. That's when I knew this conversation was going to go somewhere I hadn't anticipated. So I should be grateful? I asked. I'm just saying, I felt guilty. I wanted to come clean. Isn't that what you're supposed to do in a healthy relationship? I studied her face. We'd met at a mutual friend's cookout. She'd been funny, sharp, ambitious. A litigation attorney at a mid-sized firm downtown. We'd moved in together after a year. Bought this house after 3. Everything had felt right. When did this happen? Saturday night. 3 days ago. She'd sat on this for 3 days. Came home Sunday morning with stories about drunk karaoke and champagne toasts. Monday we'd gone to dinner. Tuesday we'd watched a movie on the couch, her head on my shoulder. And you're just now telling me. I needed time to process it. You needed time. I nodded slowly. What exactly is there to process about cheating on your fiancé? Her face hardened. It was a kiss. A stupid, drunken kiss. I'm not saying it was okay, but you're acting like I slept with someone. Is that the bar now? As long as you didn't fuck him, it's fine. Don't be crude. I laughed. Actually laughed. The absurdity of being told not to be crude after being informed of infidelity was too much. I need some air. I grabbed my keys from the counter. Where are you going? Out. We need to talk about this. You should have thought about that before you kissed someone else. I left her standing in the kitchen and drove to the only place that made sense, my brother's apartment across town. Daniel opened the door in sweatpants and a faded college t-shirt, took one look at my face, and stepped aside without a word. His place was the opposite of mine. Bachelor minimalism, gaming setup dominating the living room, laundry basket on the couch. Beer, he asked. Yeah. He grabbed 2 from the fridge, and we sat. I told him everything. Every word of the conversation. He listened without interrupting, which is why Daniel's always been easy to talk to. No immediate reactions, no knee-jerk advice. When I finished, he took a long pull from his beer. What are you going to do? He finally asked. I don't know. Do you want to work through it? The question sat there. Did I? 24 hours ago, if someone had asked me about my relationship, I would have said it was solid. Great, even. We had plans, marriage, kids eventually, growing old together in that house we'd poured our savings into. She seemed more annoyed that I was upset than actually sorry. I said, that's what's bothering you most? Part of it. The other part is, how did this even happen? She kissed a stripper? Who does that? Daniel shrugged. Drunk people at bachelorette parties, apparently. That's not an excuse. I didn't say it was. I'm just saying it happens more than you'd think. Not in relationships that are supposed to mean something. My phone buzzed. A text from her. Where are you? Can we please talk about this like adults? She wants to talk, I said, showing Daniel the screen. Are you ready for that? No. I spent the night on Daniel's couch. She called twice. I didn't answer. By morning, there were 4 more texts, each one progressively more frustrated. The last one read, "You're being childish." It was one mistake. One mistake. Like forgetting to pick up milk. Like double booking dinner plans. I drove to work without going home first. Spent the day in a fog of spreadsheets and meetings that barely registered. I'm a project manager at a construction firm, normally detail-oriented work that requires focus. That day, I couldn't tell you what I did beyond occupying space in my office. Around 3 p.m., my phone rang. Her mother. Sweetheart, Natalie told me you two had a fight. Wedding jitters are normal. She kissed someone else. I interrupted. Silence. She told you it was just wedding stress, didn't she? I asked. She said you were overreacting to something minor. Linda. She made out with a stripper at a bachelorette party. That's not wedding jitters. More silence, then a long exhale. I need to call you back. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, a new realization crystallizing. She'd already started spinning the narrative, already repositioning herself as the reasonable one, me as the overreacting fiancé who couldn't handle normal pre-wedding anxiety. That's when I made my first decision. I went home around 6. She was sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open, still in her work clothes. Finally, she said, closing the screen. We need to talk. Yeah, we do. I sat across from her. The table where we'd hosted dinner parties, where we'd planned our wedding, where I'd proposed with a ring that cost 3 months of my salary. I'm sorry, she started. I should have been more understanding of how you'd react. This has been bothering me, and I just needed to be honest. Honest, I repeated. Yes, and I think if we just... I want to postpone the wedding. Her mouth opened, then closed. What? I need time to think about whether I want to marry someone who kisses other people and then acts like I'm the problem for being upset about it. You're being dramatic. Am I? Because from where I'm sitting, you cheated and then spent 3 days deciding how to tell me in a way that would minimize your responsibility. It was 1 kiss. How many kisses does it take to break trust? What's the number? 2? 5? Or is it only when you sleep with someone that it actually counts? She stood up, chair scraping against the floor. I can't believe you're throwing away 4 years over this. I'm not throwing anything away. You did that when you decided excitement at a party was more important than our relationship. You know what? Maybe I kissed him because things between us have been boring. When's the last time we did anything spontaneous? Anything exciting? There it was. The real reason, slipping out in anger. So you're saying I drove you to cheat because I'm boring? That's not what She stopped, catching herself. I just mean we've gotten into a rut. And your solution was to stick your tongue down a stranger's throat instead of talking to me about it? You're twisting everything. I'm going to stay at Daniel's for a while. We can figure out the wedding stuff later. I left before she could respond. Packed a bag with enough clothes for a week, grabbed my laptop and toiletries. She didn't try to stop me. Just stood in the bedroom doorway, arms crossed, watching. As I loaded my car, I heard her on the phone. Her voice carried through the open window. He's being completely unreasonable. I know, right? Over 1 mistake. Yeah, I'm starting to think I dodged a bullet. I sat in the driver's seat, key in the ignition, listening to her rewrite history to whoever was on the other end, painting herself as the victim of an overreaction, making me the villain in her story. That's when I made my second decision. The next morning, I called my lawyer. Not the family friend who'd looked over our house documents. A different one. One who specialized in contracts and property law. I need to understand my options, I told him. Regarding a jointly owned house and a wedding that might not happen. His name was Vincent. Mid-50s, calm demeanor, came highly recommended from a colleague. Tell me about the property, he said. I explained. We'd bought the house 18 months ago. Split the down payment 50/50ths. Both names on the mortgage. But, and this was the crucial detail, I'd paid for the entire renovation. New kitchen, updated bathrooms, finished basement. Over $60,000 of my own money, documented with receipts and contractor invoices. That changes things, Vincent said. In terms of equity, you've got a legitimate claim to a larger share of the asset. What about the wedding? Were deposits joint or separate accounts? Separate. I paid for the venue, the caterer, the photographer. She paid for her dress, the florist, the invitations. So you're in for what? 25, 30,000? 32. He whistled. Most of that's going to be lost unless you can negotiate refunds. How long until the wedding date? 5.5 weeks. You're past most cancellation windows. But here's what I can do. Draft a letter to all your vendors explaining the situation. See what we can recoup. No guarantees, though. Do it. And the house. Do you want to force a sale? I thought about it. That house was supposed to be our forever home. 3 bedrooms, big backyard, good school district for the kids we'd planned to have someday. We'd painted the walls together. Picked out furniture. Made love in every room. Yeah. Force the sale. I want out. I'll draw up the paperwork. This is going to get messy. You sure you want to go this route? I'm sure. Over the next week, Vincent worked his magic. The house went on the market with a firm deadline. Sold within 60 days, or we'd go to court. I contacted every wedding vendor with the same message. The wedding is canceled. I need whatever refund is possible. The venue gave back 15%. The photographer kept the deposit but canceled the balance. The caterer offered nothing past the deadline. In total, I'd lose about $24,000 to a wedding that would never happen. But I didn't care about the money anymore. She fought the house sale. Of course she did. Called me screaming about how I was being vindictive, how we could work this out if I'd just stop being stubborn, how I was ruining both our lives out of spite. You're the one who ruined it, I said calmly. I'm just handling the aftermath. We can go to counseling. Work through this. Don't throw away everything we built. You already threw it away. I'm just cleaning up. She got her own lawyer. Tried to argue that the renovations were a joint decision, therefore joint investment. My receipt said otherwise. Everything in my name. Every payment from my account. The house appraised at $410,000. We'd bought it for $325,000. With my renovation investment, Vincent argued I was entitled to 65% of the sale proceeds. Her lawyer countered with 55%. We settled at 60%. She was furious. Meanwhile, I started looking at apartments. One-bedroom places across town. Fresh starts. Knew everything. One caught my attention. Downtown loft, industrial aesthetic, nothing like the suburban dream home we'd shared. I put down a deposit. The house sold in 3 weeks. Young couple, expecting their first kid, loved everything we'd done to the place. Closing was scheduled for mid-October, right when the wedding would have been. The poetry wasn't lost on me. During this time, she tried everything. Tears, anger, bargaining. Showed up at my office once, demanding to talk. Security escorted her out after she started yelling in the lobby. Her mother called me. You're being cruel. She made one mistake. She made a choice. Then she made it worse by trying to manipulate me into thinking I was the problem. She loves you. She loves the idea of me. The life we planned. The stability. But she doesn't respect me. And without respect, what's the point? Linda went quiet. You've really thought this through. I've had nothing but time to think. Her friends reached out. Some supportive of me, others defensive of her. The story had spread through our social circle like wildfire. Battle lines were being drawn. Who would invite to what? Whose side to take? I extracted myself from all of it. Deleted social media. Stopped going to group events. Focused on work, the gym, and moving forward. Daniel asked if I was okay. Honestly, yeah, I feel lighter. No regrets. None. She showed me exactly who she was. I'm just grateful it happened before we made it legal. The wedding date came and went. I spent it moving into my new apartment. Carried boxes up 3 flights of stairs, assembled furniture, hung art on bare walls. Created a space that was entirely mine. That night, my phone buzzed. Her. We should have been celebrating right now. I deleted the message without responding. 2 months later, Daniel forwarded me a screenshot. Her Instagram story. She was at a bar, dressed up, smiling. Caption, new chapter, new adventures. She's already dating someone, Daniel said when I called him. Good for her. You mean that? I do. Whatever helps her move on. But 3 weeks after that, she called. Late at night. I could hear alcohol in her voice. I miss you, she slurred. I miss us. You're drunk. So? Doesn't make it less true. That guy I was seeing? Total asshole. Nothing like you. You need to stop calling me. Why are you so cold? We were supposed to get married. You kissed someone else. You blame me for being boring. You try to make me feel crazy for having boundaries. We were never going to work. One mistake. I made one mistake. No. You made dozens of mistakes after that first one. Every time you minimized it. Every time you tried to spin the narrative. Every time you acted like I was overreacting. Those were all choices. She was crying now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Can we just? I'm blocking this number. Don't contact me again. I hung up and followed through. Blocked her number, her email, her social media. Every avenue of contact, closed. 6 months after the breakup, I ran into Megan, the friend whose bachelorette party had started everything. Hey, she said awkwardly. We were in a coffee shop. Unavoidable encounter. Hey, how are you? Good. Really good, actually. She hesitated, then, She asks about you sometimes. I don't want to know. Fair. But, for what it's worth, I think she realizes now what she lost. That doesn't change anything. I know. I just thought you should know she's not doing great. The guy she dated after you? Cheated on her. And now she's back on the apps and complaining about how men are trash. I sip my coffee. Karma's a funny thing. You don't feel bad for her at all. Should I? She made her choices. Choices have consequences. Megan nodded slowly. You've changed. You're harder now. No. I just stopped accepting less than I deserve. We parted ways after that. I never heard about her directly again. But through the grapevine, bits and pieces filtered through over the next year. She'd been fired from her firm. Something about missing deadlines and poor performance. Moved back in with her parents. Was struggling with depression. Had gained weight. Couldn't hold down a relationship. Daniel would occasionally update me. You hear about. Don't care. I'd interrupt. Fair enough. A year and a half after everything imploded, I met someone. Her name's Claire. We connected at a work conference, bonded over shared interests, took things slow. Really slow. I told her everything on our fourth date. The whole story. She listened without judgment. That must have been incredibly painful, she said. It was. But it taught me what I won't tolerate. Which is dishonesty, manipulation, someone who can't take responsibility for their actions. She smiled. Good standards to have. Claire was different. Transparent. Emotionally mature. When we disagreed, we talked it through like adults. When she made mistakes, she owned them. When I needed space, she gave it without drama. 6 months in, we were having dinner at my apartment. She looked around at the space I'd built for myself. You seem happy, she said. I am. Do you ever think about her? Sometimes. But not with regret. More like relief. Relief. That I didn't marry someone who didn't really value me. That I trusted my gut. That I walked away instead of trying to force something broken to work. She reached across the table and took my hand. Her loss. Absolutely. 2 years after the breakup, I got a letter. Actual physical mail, forwarded from my old address. Her handwriting on the envelope. I almost threw it away without opening it. But curiosity won. Inside was a single page. Handwritten. She'd never been good at handwriting. It was messy, words crossed out and rewritten. I know I have no right to contact you. I know you've moved on and probably don't think about me anymore. But I needed to say this, even if you never respond. I ruined the best thing that ever happened to me. I know that now. I was selfish and immature, and I took you for granted. I told myself you were boring because I was too scared to admit I was the problem. I was afraid of commitment. Afraid of being locked down. Afraid of missing out on something. But what I was missing out on was you. Someone who actually loved me. Someone who would have built a life with me. Someone solid and dependable and good. I see that now. Too late, obviously. But I see it. I'm not writing this to ask for anything. I know we're done. I just needed you to know that I know I fucked up. Completely. Irreversibly. And I'm sorry. I hope you're happy. I really do. You deserve it. No signature. Just her initial. I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. No sadness. Just a distant acknowledgement that someone I used to know had finally figured something out. I showed it to Claire that evening. Wow, she said after reading. That's heavy. Yeah. How do you feel? Honestly, nothing. It's like reading about someone else's life. Are you going to respond? No. What would be the point? She folded the letter and handed it back. Closure, maybe? I got my closure when I walked away. This is her trying to get hers. I threw the letter away. Didn't think about it again. People don't fundamentally change unless they want to. And she didn't want it back then. She wanted the stability I provided while keeping her options open. She wanted to test boundaries and have me accept it because we were supposed to work through anything. But relationships aren't about accepting anything. They're about mutual respect, boundaries, accountability. She taught me that, even if that wasn't her intention. Daniel asked me recently if I thought karma really got her. I don't know if it was karma, I said. I think it was just consequences. She approached relationships transactionally, kept looking for something better, treated people like they were replaceable. Eventually, that catches up with you. Fair point. The crazy thing is, I'm grateful it happened. Not for the pain, but for what I learned. About myself. About what I actually need from a partner. Deep thoughts from my little brother. Daniel grinned. Fuck off, I laughed. But he was right. I had changed. Not harder, like Megan said. Clearer. More certain of my worth. less willing to compromise on fundamentals. Last month, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that she's engaged again. Some guy she met online. They've known each other for 8 months. Claire asked if that bothered me. No, I said honestly. I hope she's learned from her mistakes. I hope she treats him better than she treated me. I hope she's actually ready this time. That's generous of you. It's not generosity. It's indifference. Her life doesn't affect mine anymore. And that's the truth of it. She's a closed chapter. A cautionary tale I occasionally reference when friends ask for relationship advice. A reminder that walking away from something broken doesn't make you a quitter. It makes you someone who values themselves. The funny thing about revenge is that the best kind isn't loud or dramatic. It's not about making someone suffer or proving a point. It's about building a better life without them and never looking back. I didn't need to publicly shame her. Didn't need to tell everyone what she'd done. Didn't need to sabotage her relationships or wish her ill. I just needed to disappear from her life completely and build something better in the space she used to occupy. And I did. That's the real ending to this story. Not her apology letter. Not her struggles or her new engagement. Not the money I lost or the house I sold. The ending is me, sitting in my living room with someone who actually values me, drinking coffee on a Sunday morning, completely at peace with the choices I made. Because I chose myself. I chose dignity over convenience. I chose boundaries over keeping the peace. And in the end, that was the only revenge I ever needed.